Micah, the mentor. You clearly had an impact.
No, I interviewed him a couple of months ago, and I just said, what's your problem, but how's it been for you during this difficult time? And he was just brutally honest. He says he's not been good enough. He needs to put his work on the training ground, and he's done that. We all know his quality. We've been saying it. You don't get bought for 50 million if you've not got quality. But a little bit of inconsistency was creeping into his game. But he's come back with that hunger, desire, all the words that the older boys use and the love. And it's been impeccable. The clean sheet that he's kept. I don't know who's older are you two?
Stella and Waldo. We talk about the clean sheets. Him and Diaz, this partnership, was it 12 games together and conceded just 10 games together in all competitions, conceded just one goal.
It's incredible.
That was that one late on at Chelsea.
It's just incredible. And I feel a little bit sorry for Laporte because he's a top defender, but at the moment he can't get in. But they've got strength in depth. And I think John Stones is playing some of the best football of his life. I think he needs to be in the England squad, in the next England squad, because the form that he's showing, it's what we expected a couple of years ago. And if he keeps this going, we always said he's going to be one of the best defenders in the world. And if he keeps his form up, there's no wonder why he can't be.
What do you see different in his game, Graham?
He's just eliminated the daft decisions. I mean, if you were to write down a bit of paper and write down a list of things you'd want from a player who is a top centre-half, and he ticks every box. And the one thing for me that was missing was, and it is a big thing, decision-making at important times. He seems to be alert from the first minute to the last minute in games now. I mean, they would have bought him to be Vincent Kompany's partner. And when you think, it's okay saying he's gone through a bad time, I think he went through more than just a bad time. I think the manager and made his mind up on him. He's not for me. And he hung in there, and I think there was interest from other clubs, whether there's an actual offer or not, but he's still there, and he's come back from the dead. Do you think he's a fabulous player?
Do you think in his head, Micah, that he'd probably got to a point where he thought the time was up for me at City?
I think you always do with the investment that Manchester City has. You know, I've been in that situation myself where, you know, you don't play well for a season. They're knocking on the door for someone else, and that's why I've got so much admiration for him, because you know, that he could have been replaced by anyone in the whole world, not just in Europe. But he kept focused, and he did his talking on the pitch, and that's all you can do as a player when you're going through a bad time.
It's not someone who was playing Fernandinho back there with Laporte. You know, he was taking Fernandinho at midfield, and he's got. We see what he's got sitting on the touchline, and sometimes, if my memory serves me correctly, he wasn't even involved. Yeah. He was sitting in the stands and he was playing Fernandinho. So I think Pep had truly made his mind up, and he's not for me. But he's made a quantum leap from what I'm thinking his time at Everton, where he was being asked to get on the ball and be clever and cute, because he's like a midfield player in disguise. I played with the very, very best of that type, and Alan Hansen. He was a midfield player in disguise. Couldn't get the ball off him in a telephone box. And John Stones is along those lines, and he's fabulous. He's got everything you'd want from a top man. And I'm reluctant to use this in the modern game, but the way everyone's asked to play out from the back now, he's tailor-made for it.
We joke about this relationship that Micah and John Stones have, this great affection between the two, which is lovely to see, but is he deserving?
I'm jealous. I thought there was only two of us in this relationship.
There's room for three. Is he deserving of all this praise?
Yeah, of course. And I think, you know, if you want to have a long, decent career, you're going to have difficult spells, and he certainly has. And even his interviews there, obviously, he looks quite fresh. He looks like, again, he's back to enjoying it. And again, Graham's made the point there, he's gone back to basics, really, and cut out the errors he was making over the last few years. And I could see why Pep did get fed up with him. You know, when you're trying to win league titles and Man City are expecting to do well in Europe, and you've got a player that's costing you, you are going to try and get rid of him. And maybe Pep did, but maybe it wasn't the right offer, or obviously the player himself didn't want to go. So he's rolled his sleeves up. He's now got a good partnership with a very good defender next to him. Nick is on about playing for England. Carry on playing well for Man City, and the caps will come. You know, Garrett will have to kind of consider him if he keeps playing well for City. But keep your head down. Continue what you're doing. As he said, on the training pitch, working hard. He's now added a couple of goals to his game, which obviously is a real bonus. But the big plus for Man City is the foundation they're giving him to go on and win football matches. And the stat you mentioned there in terms of clean sheets, happy days for him.